Hey, hope you're doing well. Wanted to show you some examples of recent students that I had. Actually, the last two students that I worked with had similar issues, even though they were wildly different people, wildly different levels, wildly different types of experience, wildly different types of athletes, but they're struggling with the same thing in a little bit different way. And it's something that nobody thinks they have problems with, but everybody has problems with it. And part of me kind of feels like a crazy person that I keep talking about this and I keep working with amazing students who are extremely intelligent, have done tons of homework, and yet continue to struggle with this same thing over and over again. Let me show you some examples. So here's a kind of beginner level student who started a couple years ago and has just recently started really taking coaching seriously. So you can see here lots of boxes being checked with preparation in terms of getting to the side, in terms of balance with the left arm, in terms of stepping forwards, getting momentum going towards the ball. And yet, as we near contact, you'll be able to tell very quickly that there's going to be problems here because the ball is already kind of where it should be met with the racket, and the racket is just starting to go forwards. And so this shot is going to be hit with absolutely zero help from the body, and the kinetic chain is not being activated at all. And so a lot of force is having to be done with the arm and the hand and the racket. Then the body turns forwards, but obviously it's too late at that point. And so not at all to pick on this player, but nobody thinks they have this problem. Nobody does. Even if you're a beginner, you watch all the videos, you see all the lessons on YouTube, you watch all the examples of like other students, and it's like, yep, well, I get it. And nobody thinks that they look like this, right? But a lot of people do. A lot of people look like this without realizing it. And so this is like the most important thing, right? The most essential fundamental thing is the use of the kinetic chain. And this player is not really utilizing any of it on her forehand. So anyway, made a huge, gigantic improvement with this player. Let me show you another one. This student is a 4-5 player. So totally different in terms of athleticism, skill, experience. This is somebody who's like a 3 or 4 handicap golfer. If you know what that means, like you'll realize like somebody who's invested tremendous amounts of money and time to become very, very proficient with using his body in another sport, which carries over a ton, the whole idea of kinetic chain. So again, similar, plenty of stored force and energy here. Now this is going to look different. So again, this is a 4-5 player, strong 4-0 player for sure. Maybe low level 4-5, very experienced, has been playing for decades, and understands the kinetic chain like very intimately. And so you'll see here a strong effort with the upper body to rotate forwards. And so his chest is almost parallel, but I want you to look now at what's happening below this red line. Watch how stuck his hips get. And like that back foot is barely lifting off the court. And so his hips are still mostly sideways. And now after contact, you'll see like the hit happens, and now watch the hips release and turn. And so even though he got there with plenty of time, the lower half of the kinetic chain is basically kind of stuck. It's sticky, and he's not unwinding. So with a little bit of work and focus on unwinding from the ground up to the hips and then to the torso and then to the shoulders, he started hitting huge forehands with very little effort, whereas this is top down. This is shoulders unwinding, and like mostly that box is getting checked, but then we're getting sticky here, we're sticky here, we're sticky here, and we're just not utilizing everything that's available. Big, strong, athletic guy, but had totally lost his forehand and totally lost the feel for it. And as a result was super mega focused on like what he should do with his arm and his hand, and had lost the use of the rest of his body. So the same core element needs to be worked on here, but in a different way. And so that's the tricky part. That's the hard part, And I definitely, fully acknowledge that. Like the way in which it needs to be focused on, the way in which the body kind of ultimately falls short might be different and to different degrees for different levels of player. But you know what? I use the exact same training, the exact same explanations, the exact same progressions for the 4-5 player as I did for the 2-5 player. Same thing. And both players got awesome results. And it just continues to kind of fascinate me that, again, both players, super educated, super intelligent, have spent lots of time learning about what to do. Nobody thinks they have this problem. And yet it always, like, people just kind of seem to assume as they see more and more students that they're probably special. Like the thing that we're going to work on for them is going to be different and some kind of more nuanced, detailed, like individualized, no, it basically always just comes down to the kinetic chain. Anyway, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed the examples. Thanks for watching. Hope you're doing well. Keep up the hard work on your game. Appreciate your support.